Good morning, everybody. Today is the last day of July, and I am 8 minutes late again, and I'm sorry. I am really trying to go ahead and do better at making sure I get everything set up on time. But yeah, it's just one of those things. It's still a learning process, and I'm trying to figure this out so that I can make it work. And what I'm doing right now here on the side is setting up so I can see if there's any comments that come in the meantime. I would like to say that there was some interesting, I guess, content that I wanted to come up with. And also, I would like to also say, hey, what's new as far as news goes and what I think people should kind of know about what's going on with regards to just all positive stuff or things that are important for making sure that for the most part, that life goes on smoothly. And what I mean is there is basically, oh, here we go. We got this up here. So basically what I'm trying to say is that I want to do also some what's going on current news. And if there's anything that might be interesting or fun to talk about, that those of you who join are informed about that. So first and foremost, I'd like to say if you are a Mac user, Apple just released a whole bunch of security updates that you are highly recommended to download and make sure you take advantage of the security patches that they've put out there. And I guess there's significant amounts of patches to prevent stuff like apps from accessing private data, and which is kind of important. I mean, you always got to worry about programs that are being added to either your computer, especially apps, or even your phone, on whether or not they are accessing data that they shouldn't. Like, for instance, you never want an app to really access all of your contact information unless it's a contact or phone app or maybe a calendar of some sort so that it grabs the data in there. The problem is if software is allowed to access these parts of your data, then you have your vulnerability of whether or not that app is sending that data to the main company and they're using it for anything that they shouldn't be using it for. So I just want to make sure that that is something that is brought to your attention. If you do have a Mac, you can actually just use that little search that's at the top. And I'm going to go ahead and bring that up where you'd be able to see the what I'm talking about as far as doing a search for your updates, because I know some people don't know how to do an update, and rather than going through a whole step process, I'm going to go ahead and bring up, let me get my screen a little bigger here so I can bring this up here and have it come up here. Okay, so let's see if my mouse is showing up on. Let's see. Does it show up on the screen? No. So let me go ahead and... Oh, why is it not showing up? Is that it? All right. So yes, this is... So on the top right corner here, you actually have on a Mac screen your Spotlight search there. And when I hit that, but there, and then all you do is you can actually just search update, and when it goes to update software, you can click on this and it'll directly take you to kind of like the update screen. I'm gonna put it so that you can't see all of, and you'll be able to go ahead and do automatic updates and do your update. Now you will need to reboot your computer, which is one thing that actually delayed me a little bit, as I did it about half an hour to 45 minutes ago, and the update took a while. It actually rebooted my computer, and I had to kind of wait for it to come back up before I continued some of my searching on that. So Mac users definitely want to do that. Of course, Windows users, you should always be doing your updates. I know some people say they want to wait till updates come up, and by the way, the updates are for the last or the latest 3 operating systems for Macs. I use both Mac and Windows. Primarily, I'm only sticking to Mac. It is a little safer as far as, from what I'm understanding, a lot of different viruses or potential issues that may come up are typically Windows related. I do need to update my Windows machine. I haven't actually done that in a while, but that's one thing I wanted to bring up, just so that people have a good, smooth running of their computers and their systems. If you're a home user, especially, make sure that you're doing that. Of course, you always want to make sure you do backups as well. I have actually wanted to talk about actually AI as well. That is something. In fact, let me go ahead and bring my screen back up here. And the reason why I want to talk about AI is because it is going to be a significant part of our lives. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. And oh, that's my screen here. Let me move me a little out of the way. And with that, the reason why I want to talk about AI especially is because as the days go on, AI will become a tool that I think more and more people will start to use. It is definitely losing a lot of its original appeal for a lot of people, but there are still a whole bunch of other people who are beginning to really take hold and grasp the positive effects of it and what it can really do. I have a song that I actually have ready to play that I was actually made by a program called Suno. And this Suno program is one that actually makes songs. Just you give it kind of a little bit of a guide of what you want, and it'll create a whole song for you pretty miraculously on how fun and catchy it can actually make and how fast it can do it. That's, I guess, one of the biggest things as well. That these new AI technologies, of course, are all computer generating things so lightning fast that it is going to leave a lot of stuff behind that we may or may not like. There's like no choice in the matter of what we have moving forward, because AI is not going to go away. It is also draining a lot of resources, and that's a natural thing. They expected it actually to happen, is that it does cost a lot of technology. It's expensive technology, but also energy and the processing power and heat that it generates, that it needs to cool down. There's a lot that is being put in, billions of dollars into the infrastructure of AI is going to be completely moving forward, which is why the AI chips, the manufacturers that actually make them, are actually making so much money right now, like Nvidia and even I think TMC, Taiwan Microprocessing Company, but these technologies that are out there make some pretty cool songs. And this is, I guess, I'm trying to figure out a good theme song that could be made, maybe played in advance before I actually move forward with starting up the podcast. That I'll have a screen that says coming and then a countdown. And here's a song that was literally created within under 2 minutes, I would say. Focusing on this process of the blog and the theme behind it. And I have made some inspirational stuff for myself. So I wanted to go ahead and just kind of give a preface sample. I mean, literally, I just said I want to make a theme song for a Waking Up Dreams YouTube channel, and this is kind of what it's going to be about. And I want it in kind of the boy band 90s style. And basically, poof, it actually creates something like that. If you've not heard of this, it's called Suno, Suno. And let me go ahead and bring that up on your screen so you can get an opportunity. Oh, let me go ahead and let me see if I have a browser that does not have all my bookmarks to distract anybody. And here we go. I'm going to go ahead and bring this up. This is Suno. And here's the cool thing about this as well. In the beginning, you can actually create a song very simply by just going to suno.com and using the free version. And with that free version, you can just start up and just hit create a song. You even with the free, I think you do need to sign in though. Let's see. For some reason, this browser is locked. Like nothing is actually being hit. That's weird. I don't know what's going on with this. Is it because of this? No. Yeah, you'll need to sign up for a free account, but you just can basically create an account, sign in, and then put in some of your information here of what kind of song you want, and it'll generate a whole song for you without without a lot of prompting. It's only like 200 characters that you get, but that's really enough. And in typical AI fashion, just for those of you who have not really used AI a lot, here's a sample like an atmospheric J-pop song about being trapped in an AI song factory, help. But any situation that you're going through right now, you can actually say country music song about, you know, a new love that you found, or something along that lines, where it's kind of bringing out anything that's happening in your day today. You can create a song about, and it's pretty cool. I mean, yeah, kids absolutely have this. I made kids songs about kind of fantasy stories that I was working with my nieces and nephews on trips, and then we were able to throw some things into this, and basically it would then create these songs for them in a heartbeat. AI is actually really fun for a lot of kids because you don't need to be as creative, since the AI does the creativity for you. And that's one thing that, so here you can just easily sign in. I think that's why it's all locked out. And I will do a sign in very quickly. In fact, I'll turn this into a quick demo about Suno. I'm going to bring up my my screen here. This is my Suno screen, and with me already logged in this browser, and you know, it already puts all the lyrics together here. But for instance, we can go to create, and you basically can just put in a, let's say, pop song in the 2000s era about, and then you just go ahead and put what you want the song about getting through a rough time in life. And then a couple of phrases that I have found to be very helpful with this is like the word catchy, and then also inspirational is also good. Now if you like a music style, you can also put like a music style, like a pop song, or an instrument with piano instrument. In the 2000 era beat style, or I don't know, along that way as well. About getting through a rough time in life due to job loss, and by not giving up, and the next job will be great. So something like that. Okay, so this is, and I guess you can kind of play around with it. Now this is actually a paid subscription for that I have. So I have 2,400 credits. Let's see how much it goes down when I hit create. And I think it's like 20 credits every time you do a song. And it creates 2 versions for you. So 2430, we'll see what happens. And so here you can see my sampling of what I'm trying to do. Waking up dreams, waking up dreaming. So it's trying to find a theme song that it would create. Here's new beginnings. This is what it's calling it. It also makes these thumbnails for you. This is the actual website which has some benefits to it, where you can do downloads from here. When you do a download, you can actually download the video. And the video is basically, it'll play the video with the words highlighting, and I'll show you that in a moment. Let's go ahead and play this song. This one is it ready yet? I don't think it's quite ready. Let me get out of this. But here's the lyrics for it. Here's another song, Waking Up Dreams. Rise Above, uplifting, motivational, Dream Big. This one was actually really fun. I mean, I did. You can actually hear the ukulele in the back because I wanted it a Hawaiian contemporary type cheerful song.
Sunny skies above us, warm breeze in my hair. Dream big, that's our mission. We'll build it with care.
I'm gonna turn it up a little bit.
We'll start it, build a business so fine. Help change the world now, leave our troubles behind.
Okay, so you have like something like that, and then let's go ahead and bring in the new one that just was finished, and we can just hit. Let's actually refresh this because I think it actually has. Is it done yet? Let's try. And here's the lyrics. And the cool thing is you can even make only instrumentals if you want as well. I have actually done it for some of my e-bike videos. When I'm doing some background music and I want it to play, then it will do that for me, where I can make some upbeat rocking type music so that it shows when I'm riding. It's taking a while for it to get started. Here we go. I just want to hear the verse or the chorus. I get. Oh. So that's one version. Now they'll use the same lyrics on a second version. Let's go ahead and put this one playing and see. I like this one a little better because it has the piano coming out right at the beginning. A little more upbeat as well.
Lost my job, but still I stand. Empty pockets, empty hands. Sky is gray, but I can see better days ahead for me.
Okay, let's get to the chorus.
Feeling low, but won't
Oh.
stay down. Turn my world right back around. Dreams are stronger.
So it tells you now. So it is completed. It's a 3:38 and 4-minute song. That two different types. Now what's really cool as well, I like to say that you have an opportunity to even create, it makes you become creative without having to have the creativity aspect of doing it. But you know, everybody's gonna say there's a lot to it that still it's controversial, because you know, you can make songs this easily using just a piece of software. Now you can do this free. So here's the cool thing about Suno. If you go to suno.com and you create an account, you can use this free. And what it can do for you is make songs that you can kind of learn, and it becomes public automatically. Now, if you don't pay and you're using the free version, you technically are not allowed to go ahead and claim that as music you created or that you can use. Now, if you pay this, I think it's like $9 or $10 a month, then you can actually, anything that you create on here is yours to use commercially, non-commercially, any which way, and you can claim it as you as the creator. From my understanding, that is where it's at. Now, these laws today, because AI is so new, there's nothing that really is put in place that people know about. That could change, so keep that in mind as well. I'm not an attorney, and all I know is I read through the terms of service, and that if you wanted to use it for yourself and keep it, then you'd have to go ahead and make the music while you are on a paid subscription. So I don't recommend you pay right away. If you want to just make a song to just test it out that you'd never use, then I would say go ahead and let either the AI do it itself and figure that out if you're going to want to use it or not, or make it up. So I have like some other songs that are in here. In fact, let me go ahead and take this off screen, and I'm going to see if there's some basic songs that I had made for like worship songs, and that's even pretty cool too because it understands scripture. And then also I have songs that are made where it says it in both English and Japanese. I wanted to make a song for my niece to kind of enjoy about an event that happened in her life, and she is bilingual and young but still bilingual in both English and Japanese, and to encourage the Japanese language to stick because she's beginning to use English mostly, that I wanted to have that that song made so that it could do both things at the same time. So you can have multiple languages be made in a song. And that's something that's pretty cool that's available for now everybody to kind of use if they want, called Suno. And that's kind of the power of AI. That's hit us pretty good. Now, I also wanted to talk about, we have the Olympics that I went in, but I want to always do a little segment on finance. And I came across a short segment by Scott Galloway, where he is talking about the basic formula on how to become wealthy. And I just want to play this short segment because
do you think there's an out
that he brought out here, because it's kind of interesting, to say the least, about what he said here. So
and I do think there's an algebra of wealth, and it's one, find your talent, find what you're good at. Two, save more than you spend. From every age, just decide you're going to start saving money. Compound interest. Time is the most powerful force in the universe. You know, you've all seen those things. If you put away $100 a month now, or 50, even $50 a month at the age of some of your high school students, you're going to end up with a lot of money, and time's going to go faster than you think. And sure, if you're a baller and end up going double platinum or being an investment banker, good for you, but assume that's not going to happen. And the best way to get rich is slowly. And also, I coach a lot of young men, and the first thing I do is I look at their screen time. I want to know if they're trading Bitcoin. Do not day trade. That may feel like you're investing in yourself. You're not. 85 to 95% of people who day trade lose money. And I would try and find areas of your most precious capital, and that's your time. And I do think there's an algebra of wealth,
I do like,
and it's one, find your...
I want to go ahead and some of the things that he actually stated. One is that day trading thing is actually really interesting because day trading really is like almost legalized gambling is the way I look at it. So it's one of those things that if you are going to be a day trader by trade, just know that, like he said, he's completely right. 95% of actually day traders don't make money. They actually lose money. And it's kind of wise advice if you think about it, if that's already a statistic, that odds are huge against you, to go ahead and see if you can make up some money on that. The other thing I wanted to bring up, which I still am having a very difficult time finding, is an interesting story I heard or saw yesterday on the Olympics about one of the Olympians who was a Chinese race walker. And I guess she was on a team from the Chinese, on the Chinese team for this race walking team. And there was a heavy favorite from the Chinese team that was being, I guess, showcased more than anything else. And this other race walker was her name is Yang Jiayu. And basically she was just a team member of the Chinese team. But when their favored athlete, who was expected to win, got disqualified. I guess her form was off, because race walking, there's very specific rules about how you can actually do the race walk. If, I guess, your feet cannot leave the ground, you have to make sure you stay at a certain kind of pace. Your feet can never be off the ground at the same time. Your front foot has to be on the ground before your back foot leaves. So that's what's walking, because running, basically, you are getting off the ground. So basically, I guess that person got disqualified, and because she was the favorite and it's kind of sad, but they had no expectations of the rest of the team. Everybody from the Chinese team went home, even the coaches, and even though the race was still going. And what ended up happening was the teammate of this favored person ended up winning the gold. And when she passed the finish line, she was all by herself. There was nobody to hand her. I guess what typically happens when somebody wins an event, then the coach will hand them their country's flag for them to showcase while they're there. And basically, nobody from her country was there to celebrate with her in that way. And, it's, to me, I thought it was really sad, regardless. But I also was very, I don't know how to say encouraged. I was very happy for her, I guess is the best way to say it. That she was not expected to win, even by her own people, her own country, her own coaches, and that they all left, and that she actually ended up winning. And that's going to be a story that gets added to that. She didn't give up. She maintained the course, and she actually ended up winning the gold for that. And that's, to me, pretty darn awesome. So that was a story that came up. I cannot, like I said, it's so weird. I saw it yesterday. That news came up about her. And even when you do a search on her, there's no pictures of her crossing the finish line. And it's kind of sad. But I'm going to do one more look to see if I can find it. Her name is Yang, Y-A-N-G, and then Jiayu is J-I-A-Y-U. And then I guess there's a short at least on her.
Ziayu is a female Chinese race worker.
And it's in Chinese. So the speed. But that's pretty cool. I mean, to say that somebody could actually
Chinese race worker.
win, like such an underdog that nobody was even there, even from her own country, and to go ahead and win.
She was the gold medalist over 20 km at the 2017 World Champions in
Oh, is this an old
athletics.
one? Maybe this is an old clip, because she actually won gold. Let me go ahead and I don't know when that clip was actually done. So, but yeah, she won the gold this year, so that's pretty amazing for her. So I just want to say that's one of those fun stories that I just kind of came across. I thought was actually nice to share or talk about. Oh, by the way, back to Scott Galloway and what he was talking about. This, some of the simple things that he talked about is find something that you're good at and stick with it. Get really good at it. Become top in your class. And this is something, or top in your field. This is something that he talks about in, I think it might have been his TED Talk, but he does a lot of talks about things that he coaches young men about, I guess, for their life and how to succeed. He does talk about wealth as well. I was talking to my wife about this, where he also has an interview he did, and he talked about the extreme differences when you're wealthy and the kind of life that you actually can have. And his example was, I think he took his kids to Disneyland, and when you have this special VIP passes, which cost a lot of money. I think it's in the thousands. And what kind of different experience you get. So I'm going to bring this up on the screen next, because he talked about how, and the reason why this came up for my wife and I is we were watching a live streamer about Disney, and there is no pricing on here, but we were watching how people with certain, even like those express passes, they can go to the front of the line. But Scott Galloway was talking about how when you have this VIP tour, you don't wait for anything, no lines. You can get a whole day's experience, any pretty much ride, I think, that you can pretty much want to go on, that everybody has to wait enormous amounts of time just because you pay more. And we're talking about the disparity in the differences between the very wealthy and, of course, the middle class, even because as a middle class person, when my wife and I go, we sometimes expect to spend an hour and a half in a line if we choose to, because we want to really get into the ride that we want to try. We want to, one of our goals is to go to Disney Sea, and also to Tokyo Disneyland. And that's one of those things that we know, we watch in advance, the live streamers, or not live streamer, but because you can't do that at Disney Sea, but the bloggers or vloggers that have gone to Disney Sea in Tokyo, and how long they have to wait. And the thing is, a lot of times they even miss the ride because they just can't go in. But when you have this pass, because you've paid for it, you get this advantage. What is the price? Let's see if they have price. Wow, if this is right, $500 to $700 per hour. With a 7-hour minimum. I wonder how many people that includes for. This person paid $6,000. Another one paid almost $5,000 for the 7-hour experience. And yeah, these, so if that's for a family, I would guess that would have, let's see, how many. See, if you can afford it, like I said, the perks made it worth every penny. People get the advantage of doing this, but $5,000, I mean, that's kind of crazy. I don't know what to say other than $700 an hour. It must be actually for a family of at least 4 or 5. But that is pretty awesome, where you're going to get a chance to go ahead and see everything like that. Now, would I pay for that? You know what? If I was wealthy and I could, and I really want the experience to make all of my money's worth, because it kind of stinks when you spend already like $2,000 on a ticket and hotel to go to a place like, you know, maybe Tokyo Disneyland, or those coming to California to go to Disneyland here or Disney California, and they're waiting so long in lines that they only get to ride 4 big rides, and they spent thousands to get here and stay here. You know, that's not even the park cost. That's just the expense of getting, and you don't get to try everything because you've run out of time. Is it worth the extra few $1,000s that you're going to pay to get a full 7-hour experience, try everything, so you really don't have to come back? I mean, if you think about it, right, if you actually get all of these opportunities. Now, it depends what kind of family situation you're in, because I got to say, there are times when the conversations that you have in a line could be half the fun. The spending time with each other, depending on what your wants or your likes or your needs are. So that's a little different experience. But when you have kids and there's only limited opportunity, you don't want to spend an hour and a half in a line with your kids when you're really limiting the whole day. And it does, you know, the thing is, it does teach kids a great lesson of choosing what you want, sometimes disappointment, and that's just kind of how life is. But here's the thing, is actually having money, being wealthy and paying for privileges, like even first class, or being able to now, at times when we fly, my wife and I fly, we pay for the little upgrade for the extra room for our feet. And it makes a difference to be able to afford that the quality, not quality of life, because it's not like my life is way better, but the enjoyment of an event does cost a little more. And in my case, in some cases, I think it's valuable to go ahead and do that. So I would say Scott Galloway has some really, really good advice. If you're actually looking for ways to improve your life and to improve your finances, it's very simple things that he actually does state. You know, the other part he did is that time is what actually is really important to understand, because the power of compound interest is huge. There were some investments that I had made 19 years ago that have grown 4 or 5 times over because I put it in certain things, just let it sit, and that has grown, but it wasn't compound interest. Had I put it into something that had compound interest, this possibly could have grown 2-3 times more, or better investments. Nonetheless, some of these investments have done well enough where I'm not disappointed at it. I'm not going to dwell on what I missed out on, but the fact that I actually was able to gain off of some investments that I put in there. So I wanted to talk or just make a mention of his little post that he had there, that it is something to kind of think about if you are looking to build your wealth, and put your mind to certain things to make goals of. It's kind of good to actually have a strategy or a plan, and to have tips from people like Scott Galloway who talk about how to do it, because slow growth is the best growth. It actually does work. I would say take that to heart. It's a good thing to actually know or have or do. And that is what I have mostly here. Oh, I do want to talk about the iPhone. There is a lot of rumors coming out with the new iPhone that potentially is going to be launched. And of course, these rumors are exactly that, rumors. So don't take this to heart. We already know that the new iPhone, I think the 16, is going to have Apple Intelligence. They don't call it AI artificial intelligence. They call it AI Apple Intelligence. So this Apple Intelligence is supposedly supposed to be what's going to drive a lot of people to buy the new phone. There is a whole wave of content creators that are talking about how AI could potentially be losing some of its steam. And although I talked about how Suno is pretty cool, and then of course writing stories with AI is pretty cool, and you could ask AI a lot of questions, but you still have to be worried whether or not it's true or accurate or not. There is a lot of reasons why AI has kind of lost its shine as the new toy in town. Now, depending on what field you're in, there are certain industries that are absolutely utilizing it, embracing it, and growing it, and taking full advantage of all the power behind it. But will the everyday consumer care whether or not it has this Apple Intelligence built in? I personally, I'm a little bit, I wouldn't say fearful, but cautious about the fact that AI will have access to everything that's personal in your phone. Now, it's not like, I guess Apple doesn't necessarily, but they say they encrypt it, they don't look at it, or those type of things. But when an AI is in your phone and maybe it doesn't update, it gets the data and it accidentally, because it is not properly trained, or it has abilities to send out your personal data or use your personal data against you, is that something that could be a concern? I mean, if you really think about the potential of AI, if you've ever used it, how smart it can get, and it starts to learn you and everything about you, how manipulative it could also be. So we'll see. This is an interesting topic that I've seen a lot of people start talking about, where they don't believe AI is doing a growth as far as interest as much as they originally thought it would. And that's going to potentially actually see what some people are even calling the AI bubble pop. So is it already starting to deflate? I don't know. Oh, excuse me. Oh, but I would love to know what potentially could, if I could see the future, what potentially could actually end up happening, because there's so much money being invested in it. And the resources that are actually needed. I watched a whole episode on data centers that have been built in the middle of some open fields, and the concerns that they're having. Now, a lot of these data centers are saying that they are going to go, what is that, full net zero emissions, which are all natural resources, but that might not be for a while. They do still take a lot of water, so they're trying to build them in colder areas. I'm not sure if that's going to be an absolute solution as well, because you also need to have internet connection that's like high speed going into those places. But our portable devices now, with those having AI, do we really need even the other types of tools that are being out there? Now, here's another thing that's a little scary, is that AI is also being known to replace a lot of these tech layoffs that are happening. The tech layoffs are huge, and again, I want to keep this on a more positive note, but the fact of the matter is, I know that there are people going to say AI is, yes, powerful, but it is also probably the detriment to everybody if we're not really careful of what it can do. But there is a lot of investment going into AI technology that is actually needing funding, and because it needs so much cash, because those things, the NVIDIA chips aren't cheap that are actually making these processors available, but by taking this technology or needing this technology and the expense on it, what they're doing is they're actually doing layoffs as to streamline as much of their cash flow so they can buy these chips, servers, space, and everything else that's out there. But it may not be for a while, or it may not even happen. I mean, AI is going to happen, but it may not happen where we're going to have this mass problem with it, because it could be that people are just going to lose interest in it. And there will be the enterprises, of course, that'll be utilizing it for like customer service and those things. So there's going to be an impact on people and other jobs. But we'll have to wait and see where this ends up going. For now, we do know that there is a huge wave still approaching us, even more AI technology moving forward, and stuff that's still cool. I am still trying to learn a lot more about it. In fact, I'm even thinking about doing an AI channel so that I can keep up with it. It forces me to do it. We'll see what happens there. For the most part, though, that is today's Waking Up Dreams at the Water Cooler Talk. I'd love to hear what's going on in your life. Again, as always, this is to encourage and also to celebrate if you have wins. I'd like to hear that too. Then if you're having challenges, by all means, share your challenges, and we'll pray for you, or I'll pray for you. At the end of every day, if any comments pop up along the way, I get notified. I'll read them, and I pray for people. But this is like, again, the Water Cooler Talk. Anything that you found interesting, exciting, you want to share, news, keep it positive though. I do search for news, and all you see is so much negative stuff. I'm wanting to go ahead and talk about the positive things that are out there, the cute things, I guess, that would say that are inspirational. And those are the things that we're focusing on. But for now, thank you so much for joining me in today's At the Water Cooler, and I will see you in the next episode. Every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 10 a.m. is when we have these. I don't know if I'll be in town in the next weekend, this coming Friday, but if I am, I'll post it. If not, I'm going to have probably something posted that was maybe pre-recorded, and I'll be monitoring the chat depending on how it goes. But thank you so much for watching. I will see you